name is Margaret June, and I've lived in Maple Hollow my whole life. It's the kind of town where everybody waves whether they know you or not. The kind of place where stories are passed through whispers and pie recipes. Where every porch has a swing and every heart has a secret. When I was young, I thought I'd leave someday. Pack a bag, head for the city where the lights don't sleep. But life had other plans for me. His name was Thomas, and he had that kind of smile that made the world quiet for a moment. We met at the church picnic under the oak tree behind the old brick hall. He was tall with hands rough from work and eyes that looked like they carried the whole sky. He offered me lemonade, and I said yes. Funny how some lives start with a simple word like that. We married 2 years later. Small ceremony by the lake. My dress wasn't much, but it was white and the day was kind. Mama cried through the whole thing. Daddy said he'd never seen me look so sure of anything. Our first home was a weathered little house on Willow Lane. Peeling fence leaning and windows that rattled when the wind got moody. But it was ours. I used to stand on that porch in the evenings and watch the sunset, thinking about how lucky I was. Then came the day I found out I was going to be a mother. I remember sitting on the bathroom floor holding that little stick shaking. Half fear, half wonder. When Thomas came home from work, I didn't say a word. Just took his hand and placed it over my belly. He looked at me and smiled. Didn't say anything either. Some moments are too big for words. When our daughter came into the world, it was raining. Not the heavy kind that beats against windows, but the soft kind that feels like a whisper. She had a head full of dark hair and the smallest cry I'd ever heard. Like she was apologizing for needing me. We named her Lily after the flowers that grew wild behind our house. From the start, she was curious. Always reaching out, touching faces, hair, leaves, light. Thomas used to call her our little sunbeam. Said she could brighten up even the gloomiest day. Those first few years felt like forever and no time at all. Morning bottles turned into bedtime stories. Lullabies into laughter. I'd rock her on the porch swing while the cicadas sang their evening song. Telling her about the world. How people could be kind. How love could heal. How home wasn't just a place but a feeling. I didn't know then how much I'd need to remember those words. Thomas worked hard at the mill. Long hours, rough hands, tired eyes. But he always came home. He'd scoop Lily up, spin her around. He'd giggle and shout, "Daddy's home, Daddy's home." Those were the golden years. And life still felt endless. And love still felt easy. Small towns have a way of reminding you that good things don't last forever. It started with a cough. Just a small one at first. Thomas said it was nothing. Just dust from the mill. But the cough stayed. One morning he couldn't get out of bed. The doctor came by. A kind old man with tired eyes. He listened to Thomas's chest and shook his head. Said he'd do his best. His best wasn't much against something you couldn't see but felt everywhere. 3 months later, I buried my husband under the oak tree where we first met. People came with casseroles and soft words. They said things like he's in a better place and time heals all wounds. But time didn't heal. It just made the house quieter. Lily was only 6. She didn't understand. She asked when Daddy was coming home. Told her he'd gone somewhere far away. He said she'd wait for him on the porch every day until he came back. 4 weeks she did. He'd sit there, swing creaking, hair tangled by the wind. Eyes watching the road that stayed empty. I used to stand by the window watching her. My heart breaking twice. Once for the man I lost. Once for the child who still hoped.
Life after loss is strange. The world keeps turning. The mail still comes. The sun still rises. But everything feels like it's happening in slow motion. I went back to work at the diner downtown. Wiping tables, pouring coffee, smiling when I didn't want to. The regulars would ask how I was holding up. I'd say fine. Because fine was easier than honest. Lily started school that fall. Her teacher said she was quiet but bright, always drawing pictures of a man and a little girl holding hands under a big oak tree. She said that was her daddy. Said he still visited her in dreams. Sometimes I'd wake in the night and hear her talking softly, like she was whispering secrets into the dark. I never asked who she was talking to. Some things you don't question. You just listen. As the years went on, the ache dulled but never disappeared. It lived in the corners of my days, in the sound of a saw from the mill, in the scent of rain, in the way Lily's eyes looked more and more like his. By the time she turned 12, she'd become my reason to keep breathing. Smart, stubborn, beautiful. The kind of girl who made people turn and smile. The kind of girl who carried light even when the world got dim. And I promised myself one thing, that no matter how much life took from us, I'd make sure she always knew she was loved. That promise would become the hardest thing I ever tried to keep. The years after 12 seemed to pass like a slow storm. You see it building, you feel the shift in the air, but you still tell yourself it's just a breeze, that everything's fine, that your little girl will always stay little. Lily started middle school that year. New faces, new friends, new ways of seeing the world. She'd come home talking about places she wanted to go. Big cities where lights never dim and streets hum with life. She'd tell me about skyscrapers and subways, and I'd nod and smile, even though inside I felt the tug of something leaving. Our house on Willow Lane stayed the same. Same porch swing, same creaky floorboards, same faded curtains. But Lily began to outgrow it. Not in height, but in spirit. Like she'd already started walking toward a door I couldn't see. Sometimes I'd find her staring out her bedroom window, eyes distant, like she was listening to something far away. When I asked what she was thinking, she'd just shrug. Nothing, Mama, just wondering. I knew that look. It was the same one I used to wear when I dreamed of leaving Maple Hollow. Only I never did. And maybe that's why it hurts so much to see it in her. At the diner, I'd hear people talking about their kids. How they'd gone off to college or found good jobs in the city. They'd smile proud and a little sad. And I'd wonder if someday that would be me. Or if my heart would let her go. She was 13 when she asked her first real question about her daddy. Not the soft kind kids ask, but the kind that cuts. Mama, why did he have to die? I froze for a second. She was sitting at the kitchen table, homework spread out, head tilted like she was bracing for the truth. I said sometimes life takes people before we're ready. She frowned, said that's not fair. And I said I know, baby. But love doesn't end when someone's gone. It just changes shop up. She nodded, but I could tell she didn't believe me. By 14, she was spending more time with her friends. Girls who wore perfume and talked about boys and bands I didn't know. She'd stay up late on the phone whispering, laughing. And I'd lie in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the soft hum of her voice. Half proud, half afraid. One night, she came home late. Her first real rebellion. I was waiting on the porch, lights still burning. When I saw her walk up the path, I felt both relief and anger twist inside me. Where were you? I asked. Just out with friends, she said. You should have called. She rolled her eyes, said, I'm not a kid anymore, Mama. That hurt more than I expected. We argued, my voice shaking her sharp. She stormed off, slammed her door. And I sat on that porch until sunrise, wondering when love turned into distance, when the sound of her laughter started to feel like goodbye. The next morning, she came down quiet. Didn't look at me. Just grabbed her bag and left for school. On the table was a note. Sorry, Mama, I didn't mean to yell. I love you. I cried reading that. Because no matter how grown she thought she was still my little girl. Life carried on the way it always does. A mix of chores and bills and birthdays that blur together. But something in Lily kept changing. She started drawing again. Not the happy pictures of when she was small, but faces I didn't recognize. City skylines, dark roads. A girl standing alone in the rain. When I asked her about them, she said, I just like drawing what I feel. And I understood that more than she knew. When she turned 16, she got her first job at the bookstore downtown. She loved it. Said she liked the smell of old paper and stories that took her places. Sometimes I'd walk by and see her through the window, head bent over a book, smile soft. And I'd think maybe she'd be all right after all. But that same summer, she met someone. His name was Jake, a boy from the next town over. He was polite enough at first. Shy smile, messy hair that probably made girls swoon. He'd come by the house sometimes, pick her up for drives. Always said hello, always thanked me. But something about him made my chest tighten. Mother's instinct, maybe. Lily glowed when she talked about him. She said he understood her. Said he made her feel seen. I tried to be happy for her, but part of me missed the days when I was enough. One night, she didn't come home on time again. I waited by the window, rain falling soft against the glass. Every car light on the road made me jump. When she finally came and she looked pale, eyes red from crying, I rushed to her, asked what happened. She just shook her head, said, "Nothing, Mama, I'm fine." But she wasn't. For days, she moved like a ghost. Quiet, withdrawn. Her drawings turned darker, tears smudging the edges of paper. Then one evening, I found her sitting on the porch, head in her hands. I sat beside her, didn't say a word. After a while, she whispered, "He left, Mama. Said he wasn't ready for someone like me." I pulled her close. She cried into my shoulder like she did when she was small. And I realized heartbreak is the one pain you can't protect your child from. You can only sit with them in the dark and hope your presence is enough. After that, she changed again. Not in a bad way, just quieter, more thoughtful. She threw herself into school, talked about art colleges and moving away. I told her I was proud, and I was, even if it meant my world would feel smaller without her. We spent her senior year building memories. Movie nights on the couch, Sunday drives through the countryside, laughing about nothing just to fill the silence we'd both learned to fear. When graduation day came, she wore a blue dress under her gown, the same color as the sky the day she was born. She gave a speech, spoke about dreams and courage and the beauty of growing up in a small town. When she mentioned me, she called me her home. Said I taught her that love can survive loss. I cried so hard I couldn't see her face through the tears. After the ceremony, she hugged me tight. Said, "Mama, I'm gonna go make you proud." And I said, "You already have." That night I sat on the porch again, the light glowing warm in the dark, thinking about all the years that brought us here. From lullabies to late nights, from her tiny hand in mine to her suitcase by the door. Love and loss. They're not opposites. They live side by side, like the light and the shadow it casts. As the stars came out, I whispered a prayer, that wherever she went, she'd always find her way back home. The morning she left felt like the longest sunrise of my life. The house was too quiet, too neat. Her bags stood by the door like they'd been waiting longer than we had. I made pancakes, though she barely touched them. Kept pouring her coffee even though she didn't drink coffee yet. Just something to do with my hands, so I wouldn't reach out and beg her to stay. The bus stop was 5 miles out past Miller's Creek. We drove there, slow, windows down, wind tangling her hair. She hummed along to the radio soft like she used to when she was little. I wanted to say 100 things. Be careful, call me, don't forget where you come from. But every word felt too small for the ache inside me. When the bus finally came, she hugged me once quick tight. Said, "I love you, Mama." Then she was gone. I stood there long after the bus disappeared, dust rising like ghosts in the sunlight. And for the first time since Thomas died, the world felt empty again. For weeks after that, the house didn't sound right. No footsteps upstairs, no music leaking from her room. I kept the porch light on every night, just like always. Couldn't bring myself to turn it off. Like maybe she'd see it from wherever she was and find her way back. She called every Sunday at first. Told me about classes and friends and city lights that never went out. Said she loved it, but sometimes missed home. I'd listen to her stories, smiling even when my heart ached. Told her how the town was the same as ever. That old Mr. Harris still fell asleep in church. That Mrs. Taylor's cat had kittens again. That the maple tree out front was turning gold early this year. Then the calls got shorter. Sometimes she'd text instead. Sometimes she wouldn't. I told myself she was just busy, that this was how growing up worked. But late at night when the wind rattled the windows, I'd catch myself whispering her name into the dark. Like maybe she'd hear it somehow. Around Christmas that year, she didn't come home. Said she had a big project due and couldn't make the trip. Said I understood. But when I hung up the phone, I cried over the pie I'd baked just for her. The one she used to love. Apple with too much cinnamon. People in town asked about her all the time. How's Lily doing, they'd say. I'd smile, tell them she was doing great. Because she was. At least that's what I needed to believe. One spring morning a letter came. Real paper, real handwriting. Said she'd met someone. A man named Daniel. Said he made her laugh. Said she thought I'd like him. I read that letter 5 times and then tucked it into my Bible next to her baby photo. A year later she called and said she was getting married. Said it fast like she was afraid of how it'd sound. Mama, we're keeping it small, she said. Just a few friends. He's good to me, I promise. I smiled through tears, said I'm so happy for you. And I meant it. Even though my chest felt heavy like it had filled with rain. I sent her the lace veil I'd worn on my own wedding day. She texted a photo of her wearing it. Said I love you. Said thank you for believing in me. I kept that photo framed on the kitchen counter. Her smile bright. Her eyes looking older, but still the same girl who used to run barefoot through the backyard. After the wedding, she called less again. Her life busy, her world bigger. Sometimes months went by before I heard her voice. I'd scroll through her pictures online. See her standing in front of city buildings with that same glow she used to have when she was a child. Only now it was mixed with something else. Distance maybe. Then one night she called crying. It was past midnight. Mama, she said, I don't know what to do. He's changed. He's not the man I thought he was. I sat up heart racing, told her to come home. Said no matter what had happened, she'd be safe here. She said she couldn't. That he didn't like her talking to me. That he said small towns make people weak. I wanted to drive there right then. To pull her back home. But she begged me not to. Said it'd make things worse. For months I lived in a kind of half fear. Waiting for the phone to ring. Hoping it wouldn't be bad news. Praying she'd just walk through the door like she used to. One afternoon the sheriff came by. Said there'd been an argument. Said she'd left him. That she was safe but had nowhere to go yet. I thanked him. Then sat on the porch till dark. The porch light glowing steady like it was holding its breath. She finally came home 3 weeks later. Her hair short, her eyes tired. She didn't say much. Just hugged me for a long time and whispered, I missed you, Mama. And that was enough. For a while it was like old times again. We'd cook dinner together. Watch the same shows we used to. Laugh about silly things. But there was something different in her now. A quietness. Like she'd seen too much of the world too soon. One night she sat beside me on the porch. Asked me if I ever regretted staying here. If I ever wished I'd left like she did. I thought for a moment, then said, used to. But now I think maybe the bravest thing I ever did was stay. Because staying means facing what's left when love changes shape. She nodded. Didn't say anything. But I saw tears in her eyes. Then she said, Mama, do you think love can survive even when it hurts? I said, yes, baby. That's the only kind that really does. She rested her head on my shoulder, and we sat there listening to the crickets. Porch light glowing beside us. Both of us knowing that some hearts never fully heal. They just learn how to keep beating anyway. After she came back home, things were gentler for a while. We made a habit of sitting on the porch every evening just talking. Sometimes about nothing, sometimes about everything. I'd make her tea the way she liked it. 2 spoons of sugar and a slice of lemon. And she'd say it tastes like childhood, Mama. And I'd smile because for a moment it really did. She found a job at the library. Said she wanted something quiet, something that felt safe. The ladies there adored her. Said she had a way of making silence feel like music. And I knew what they meant. But sometimes I'd catch her staring out the window again. Same faraway look she used to have as a child. And I knew she was still searching for something. Something I couldn't give. She started painting again. Filled canvases with colors that didn't belong in this town. Bright streaks of city lights tangled with soft strokes of rain. I asked her once what they meant. She said they were memories of places that no longer fit her. And I understood that too. Spring came, then summer. The air thick with honeysuckle and the hum of bees. We laughed more, cooked more. Life felt almost normal again. Until the night the phone rang. It was a Thursday. I remember because Thursdays were pie nights at the diner. I was about to close up when the call came. A nurse's voice soft and careful, asking if I was Lily's mother, asking if I could come right away. I don't remember the drive, just the sound of the road under my tires, and my heart pounding so loud it felt like it filled the car. They said there'd been an accident. A car on the old highway near the curve where the guardrail bends. She'd been on her way home from work. They said she didn't feel a thing. I didn't believe them. Not at first. Kept saying no. Kept asking to see her. Because a mother always believes she can bring her child back just by touching them one more time. When they led me into that room, the world went silent. She looked like she was sleeping. Hair spread on the pillow like a dark halo. And all I could think was, she's still mine. I held her hand, talked to her, told her about the porch light, that it was still on, that I'd keep it on forever. After that day, the world became a blur. The funeral, the casseroles, the quiet. People said kind things. Said she was an angel now. Said God needed her more than I did. But none of it made sense. Because God never carried her 9 months. Never kissed her scraped knees. Never waited on the porch for her to come home. The house felt haunted without her laughter. The walls too still. I couldn't bring myself to go into her room. Her shoes still by the door. Her mug still in the sink. As if she'd walk in any minute and ask what's for dinner. Nights were the worst. I'd sit outside watching the moths circle the porch light, thinking maybe they were souls that still had something to say. Some nights I'd talk to her. Just quiet whispers into the dark. Telling her how proud I was. How sorry I was for every time I didn't understand her. How much I missed her. People said I was strong. But strength has nothing to do with it. You just keep breathing because you don't know how to stop. One morning, I walked down to the lake. The same place where I married her daddy. The water was still. The sky pale and empty. I sat there a long time. And for the first time in months, I felt her there. Not like a ghost, but like sunlight through leaves. Warm, soft. Everywhere. After that, I started painting too. Nothing fancy. Just colors that reminded me of her. Blue for the sky she loved. Yellow for the way she laughed. And a deep quiet green for home. The porch light stayed on. Always. Through storms and seasons. A small stubborn glow against the dark. And then one evening I saw a little girl walking with her mother down the road. The child stopped, pointed at my house and said, "Mama, why does that lady keep her light on all the time?" The mother smiled, said, "Maybe she's waiting for someone she loves." And the little girl said, "Then the light must be very tired by now." I almost laughed, almost cried, because she was right. But some loves don't sleep. Some lights don't go out. Time passes. It always does, even when you beg it to stop. The seasons roll over the same fields. The maple leaves still fall. The diner still opens every morning at 6. And somehow I'm still here. It's been 5 years since that night. 5 years since the phone rang and the world split in two. And every day I still wake up thinking maybe it was all a dream. Then I see her picture on the wall and remember. For a long time I thought grief was something to survive. A storm you had to wait out. But it's not. It's the tide. It goes and comes. Sometimes soft, sometimes cruel. And all you can do is learn to float. I kept working at the diner. The same faces, the same songs on the jukebox. People stopped asking how I was. I stopped pretending I was fine. We just learned to live around the silence. Every now and then someone new comes through town. They always notice the porch light. They'll say, "That's a bright lamp you've got there, ma'am." And I'll smile and say, "Yes, it is." It's been on a long time. In the mornings, I walk to the lake, bring a cup of coffee, and sit on the bench facing east. That's where the sun rises, where the sky turns soft pink like the ribbon she used to wear in her hair. I talk to her, tell her about the weather, about Mrs. Taylor's cat still stealing food from the porch, About the new kids riding bikes down the hill too fast. Sometimes I swear I hear her laugh in the wind. I used to think the hardest part of losing her was the day she died. But it wasn't. It was learning how to keep living, how to fill the hours, how to make peace with an empty chair. The house isn't as quiet as it used to be. Birds nest under the porch roof. The neighbor's boy mows my lawn sometimes. And once a month a young woman from the library stops by. She says she remembers Lily. Says she used to help her find books. We'll sit on the porch with lemonade and she'll tell me stories about my daughter I never knew. Like how she once stayed late just to help a shy kid find a story for show and tell. Or how she used to hum when she shelved books. Tiny things. But they feel like miracles to me. There's a painting that hangs over the fireplace now. One of Lily's. She left it unfinished. Half city, half sky. I never framed it proper. Just nailed it up raw. Because some things aren't meant to be polished. They're meant to be real. Sometimes I think about Thomas too. Wonder if he's somewhere with her. Watching. Smiling. I like to think maybe they walk by the lake together. That they see me sitting there and know that I kept my promise. That she always knew she was loved. People tell me I should move. Go live closer to my sister or in the city where it's easier. But I can't. This house has her laughter in the walls. Her footsteps in the hallway. Her dreams in every corner. And when the wind blows through the screen door just right, it almost sounds like she's home again. Every night before bed, I stand on the porch, look out at the road, the light still burning warm and gold, and I whisper the same words I've said since she was small. Come home safe, baby. The light's on for you. And even though I know she won't, I still keep it on. Because love doesn't stop when life does. It just changes shape. It lingers in the air, in the scent of rain, in the flicker of a lamp, in the memory of a voice that once called you mama. I used to think the porch light was for her, but now I think maybe it's for me. A reminder that even in the deepest dark, there's still something that shines. And that's how I live now, one quiet day at a time, with the light on, and the memory of my girl, glowing gentle in my heart.